Hello and welcome back to Take a Knee with Mike and JD. I am JD,
And I'm Mike.
and today we're going to be making our picks for week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. Hopefully it stacks up to week 1 as far as entertainment wise. I think it will because the Thursday night game this week starts out with a bang with the Kansas City Chiefs against the Los Angeles Chargers. So with that, that game starts at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Who do you have, KC or Los Angeles?
I've got KC. I think this is going to be a cracking game. I give it to KC because I love the way they played. Like they don't look like they've missed much of a beat with their outs, and they're at home. But I think it'll be a good one.
I think I'm gonna go with Los Angeles. I think this should be. I want it to be a high scoring game. I want this game to be like 45-42, and I think it has the opportunity to be that. Since I picked Justin Herbert as my MVP candidate, I think that he sort of cements it by beating Mahomes. But I think both teams are going to have a really good game. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers. All right. So our next, we have the Sunday early games. So our first game for that is Miami at Baltimore.
So I've gone Miami. I just have a feeling they might continue on, continue on with the role they got from. This was hard because how much of a challenge do they have from the Patriots? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's
But be
true.
a bit crazy and go Miami.
Yeah, I'm gonna go because Baltimore's at home. I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I think that they beat a very bad Jets team and they did it in pretty impressive fashion. It really seems like Lamar Jackson is out to prove something with trying to get this big contract that he wants. I think it'll come down to who plays better in Tua or Lamar Jackson, and I have confidence that it'll probably be Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go with Baltimore there. So our next game is the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going the Browns. They're at home, and I can't ever pick the Jets really. So so I'm going the Browns.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jets fans.
they were pretty impressive in their week 1 win. With their running was pretty good, and you can see that this team does have talent even without Watson. So I am also going to go with Cleveland. One, they're at home, and two, the Jets are pretty bad. So our next game would be the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions.
And I'm going to take the Lions. I think it'll be a close one, but given the Lions are at home, I mean, my preference as a division rival is they don't win, but I am going to pick them for a 2 or 3 point win.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Carson Wentz played pretty good. This is one that I'm sort of struggling with because I don't think either team is that good. I think Detroit is slightly better. So I'm struggling with this, but my gut is telling me Detroit, so I'm going to go with Detroit. But I think it'll be a good game because I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. So it should probably be like, 24-21, 28-24, a game like that. But Detroit did show that they could score points, especially against Philadelphia. Okay, our next game here is the 0-1 Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm going to take the Colts in this one. Don't have any great thoughts on this, but I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, I think they come back. I mean, Jonathan Taylor still had a really good game against the Texans, but and the offense did enough to at least get them in the position to win that game in overtime. But I think that they'll adjust. This first game with Matt Ryan at QB. I think that they'll adjust and come back and win. So I'm also going to take the Colts here. Our next game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay continue on and go to 2-0. I think they'll be too strong for New Orleans for sure.
I'm gonna go with New Orleans. I wasn't that impressed with the offense, Tampa Bay's offense last game. They moved the ball pretty well. Tom Brady and Julio Jones seem to have a chemistry. They have one of the best wide receivers in Mike Evans. The Saints are at home, where I think they usually play pretty well, and they showed resilience last week with coming back and winning it late. So I think this game is probably going to be a little more low scoring. It'll probably be in the teens, but I'm going to take New Orleans. Our next game is Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants.
So I'm going what might be considered an upset here, and I'm going to pick the Panthers. I think C-Mac hasn't broke down yet. But Barkley was very good. But who knowing how their careers have gone so far, they'll both probably play exceptionally and hurt themselves and be out for the season in the exact same game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Panthers. I think Baker Mayfield played pretty well. He did throw an interception, but that may have been the emotions of the game that he wanted to try and beat the Browns badly. I mean, he did. He led them back. It's just unfortunately the defense were able to let up a last-second field goal. But like you said, there's two really good running backs in this game with McCaffrey and Barkley. So it comes down to, I think, quarterback play. And I think right now Baker Mayfield will play better than Daniel Jones. So I'm going to take the Panthers. Okay, the next game, the last early Sunday game, is the New England Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, your boys for sure. I think Pittsburgh played really well. Yes, they've lost TJ Watt, but in terms of what New England dished up, and now with potentially Mac Jones being injured, I don't think they'll be far too strong.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Steelers, not just because it's a homer pick, but they are playing at home. You would hope that they make the adjustments. Mitch Trubisky comes back and understands the mistakes that he made last game. We are going to miss Watt, but the defense as a whole still played pretty good without him. Like I said, just be interested to see who's going to replace him, and as long as Cam Hayward also isn't hurt and able to play, their front is still very good. So I'm going to take the Steelers as well. With that, we move on to our late Sunday game. So our first one, these first two games are at 4:05 for some reason, but it's the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Rams.
So I'm gonna take the Rams. I think they will do it pretty comfortably. Really, I think I think the Falcons are in for a hard game.
Yeah, I think the Rams are embarrassed about what happened against the Bills. Matt Stafford
Definitely
played poor. The Rams, stout defense played poor. So I think the Rams come out and look to try to embarrass the Falcons, who did play pretty well last week. But I think the Rams are going to come out and try to show why they were Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
All right, our other 4:05 game is the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm going to take San Fran, who are at home. I have the Seahawks shocked me last week. I am thinking that is a bit of the craziness of week one. While the 49ers didn't play well, I think they bounced back a bit. I'm giving them the win because they're at home. I am interested to see what happens if Trey Lance kind of bounces back, and if he doesn't, does Garoppolo come in throughout the game at some point? So I'm very interested in that game, actually.
Yeah, I do want to watch it because I do think San Francisco should win and will win, but they'll be in California. It should be good weather. You should actually be able to see what you have in Trey Lance as a starting quarterback to start the season. I mean, it was just unfortunate that in Chicago it was a very inhospitable field to play on. So I think this game will show them what they have in Trey Lance, and what their decision would be. So, and I think Seattle played well on Monday night against the Denver Broncos because it was an emotional game for them. I think they were able to take that energy playing Russell Wilson and elevate their game. But without that, I don't know how well the team will play. So I will take the San Francisco 49ers as well. Okay, our 425 games. The first one is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Bengals easily. Even though Dallas are at home, obviously Dak's out. There's been no word if they're getting someone else in, but like this is going to be Cooper Rush under center, because even if they got someone, they're not going to have enough time to kind of get across everything. Even outside of however well Rush may play, or if they got someone else in, Dallas has, without Dak to paper over the issues, they got big issues. So, and on top of that, Cincinnati played well. I mean,
they definitely bounced back
outside
well
of kicking.
What?
Yeah, outside of kicking.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I do have a sort of conflict in this. Is how well is Joe Burrow going to play? Because this is probably another game that he could afford to make mistakes, because I don't know how well the Dallas offense is going to go. And the Bengals' run defense, it may have been a mix of they had a good run defense and the Steelers have a poor line, but they were stuffing the run, which you would think Dallas is going to lean on. So I can see the Cowboys winning, but I think the better pick would be the Bengals. So as almost all the games this week, we have picked the same people to win. It is different.
Yep.
It is different to pick these games after we see the teams play. You sort
Absolutely.
of have different confidence in them. So our next 425 game is the Houston Texans at the Denver Broncos.
Broncos are at home. I was very, very surprised at how they went. I think they're one of those teams that you write off week one, based on a multitude of factors. I think a lot of the quarterback revenge games didn't go to the script that everyone thought, and I refuse to believe that any NFL caliber coach will make the same bad calls they did again. And I think the Texans are just going to get run over.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Denver as well. I think that they'll bounce back. They're a much better team than Houston. It seemed like Indianapolis made more mistakes, kind of on equal on how well Houston their defense played. But I think Rush should come out and play another level, especially not being in Seattle, just being now at home, having a lesser opponent. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Denver as well. Our last midday afternoon game is the Arizona Cardinals at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Taking the Raiders at home, I don't think we can fully judge the Cardinals on that last game. I do think they will be better than that, but I think the being at home will get the Raiders home by a few.
Yeah, the Raiders played pretty good. Adams' touchdown was a classic Adams touchdown with that quick out route, and he made a great catch. He also ran an absolute nasty route that shook his cornerback. So obviously he's still a very good wide receiver. He and Derek Carr have pretty good chemistry. I just think Arizona, they were just playing a great team in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, he's I think now 5-0 in the first game of a season since he became a starter. I think they ran into a buzzsaw in KC. So I think I'm going to have to pick the Cardinals. I think that they'll bounce back and win. Even though I don't think
right.
Las Vegas should go 0-2, I'm just going to go with Arizona. So that one, at least we split what we think. So our Sunday night game next week is the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers.
I'm taking the Packers, not just as a homer pick, but what they have to win. They can't lose against another division rival. But I think being back at home and shaking off what was an awful first weekend, and I think there's a lot of kind of carryover to how last last year happened in week 1, and then they came out and destroyed, I'm pretty sure from memory, it was the Lions the next week. So I think they bounced back in a pretty big way. I think there'll still be, there'll still be some rust on the offense with these rookie receivers and that, but I think they get Jones and Dillon much more involved than they were, and I don't think the defense plays that bad again.
No, and I think Chicago was able to stay in that game because of the weather in Chicago. I think it sort of evened the playing field a lot more with San Francisco. This game, it shouldn't be too harsh conditions yet, but I think it's one of those games where Aaron Rodgers, in practice this week, they're going to address a lot of the issues that they had, so I'm also going to take the Packers.
And just one last thing on that.
Sure.
There's nothing Rodgers loves more than being written off and then coming out and giving everyone the middle finger. So, he's one of those people that needs a chip on their shoulder.
That's true.
The media is giving it to him in spades this week. So,
especially against the Chicago Bears, which he owns. So you would think that he's going to come out.
Yeah, that's right. He wants to remind them that he still has that deed.
Yeah. So this week we have a doubleheader for Monday night. So the first game starts at 7:15 Eastern. It is the Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills.
Yep, Bills at home. They were fantastic in week 1, and Tennessee not so much. So I think this will be a big score line for the Buffalo.
Yeah, I think the Bills. I think Tennessee should play pretty good too, but I just can't see Josh Allen playing poorly in their first home game, especially with the confidence on how well, like you said, they played on last Thursday. So I'm going to pick the Bills as well. So the last game of week 2 is the second of the doubleheader on Monday night. It starts at 8:30 Eastern. It is the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm going to take what may be an upset and go the Eagles with them at home. And I think, Minnesota put a lot of emotion and energy against us last week, so I think they come down a bit. No, and I think a lot of a lot of things went right for Minnesota last week, and I can't see that happening again. There was, Zadarius Smith was hyped up because he's talked himself into some kind of slight, that the Packers, did to him by, failing him on a physical that also the Ravens failed him on. So I don't think, unless he can find something that Philadelphia has, looked at him the wrong way or some shit, he'll go back to being his average and probably put his back out halfway through the game.
I'm going to take Minnesota. I liked their offense. Obviously, Philadelphia scored a bunch of points. I was a little worried that Minnesota didn't score more against the Packers. I think that, like you said, some things went right that they were able to score, but I think, under a new head coach, I think their offense should play better. Their defense played pretty well against the Packers. I think this is going to be I think both games on Monday night are going to be really good, but I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings. So just to recap of last week, Mike went 9-6-1, and myself as JD went 6-9-1. So Mike has a 3-game lead in the season standings after week 1. Thanks everybody for joining us. If you want, please leave your predictions, your picks down in the comments. Track your record all season. It'd be fun to watch to see, how well you do against us, which I'm sure a lot of people will do a lot better than us two idiots. So,
absolutely.
Thanks for checking us out. Please subscribe. Outside of that, I hope you guys have a nice day and enjoy watching week 2.
See you next time.